Hey, it's 11:40 The Bet, and of course, Audacy Sports. Adrian Hernandez here as we gear up and get ready for Impact Wrestling. They'll be in town later this month for No Surrender, but also Fallout Night 1, Fallout Night 2, meaning a 3-day experience, a weekend full of Impact Wrestling. That'll be February 24th through the 26th. You can get your tickets right now at Ticketmaster.com. We get the plug-in out the way, and we welcome in Santino, one of the newest members of Impact, first and foremost. Thank you for looking snazzy. How are you, Santino?
Oh, amazing, man. Amazing. Every day is a blessing, man.
I love the way you put that. And you're right. And look, before we start getting into the wrestling and why you joined and this, that, and the third, we were lucky enough to talk to Gail Kim a few weeks ago. And unbelievably, we're already at the end of January, but I'm gonna still ask this question anyway. When it comes to 2023, whether it's professionally, personally, as a dad, whatever the case, what are some of your goals for the year?
Stay on target, man. I have no goals because all my dreams I ever had, it came true. So I don't have any. No, I'm training hard, man. I'm eating well. Just nah, I don't have any resolutions. I've literally everything I want to do is I do. You know what I mean? I already do it.
That's a great problem to have. That's not even a problem. That's a good situation to be in. And of course, with you joining Impact, you recently did an interview, and this quote really stuck out where you said, I wasn't gone long enough to where nobody knows me, but I was gone long enough that it means something, which really stuck out to me. And with you returning back to Impact, I guess my first question when it comes to wrestling is why now? When did the idea come to mind? How long was the process to get you back?
Well, yeah. So in 2013, I opened Battle Arts Academy, and kind of got stuck there. I mean, I was doing things I love to do. Right? I'm coaching judo, I'm coaching pro wrestling, I'm running my business, taking my kids to tournaments, putting on shows for my students, and I just kind of got. I don't want to say stuck because it's not a good word, but I was very busy. And also simultaneously, I'm having children, right? I got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I was just really busy. I never really left the business. I made sure I go do an appearance once every couple of months, once a month, just to get out there and see some friends at a convention or something. And I have a pretty good relationship with Scott specifically. And the kind of, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but the timing wasn't right. And then COVID came
Of course.
and everything wrapped up. I'm like, it's just timing. Timing, it's the right time, especially when you have small kids, because your kids are watching and they gotta watch daddy go to work. It's important that you're teaching them that gotta go to work, right? You gotta handle your business and do stuff and get back out there. So a lot of it is to do with now that my son's old enough to kind of watch and observe what daddy does. So time to go to work.
No, I love it. And one thing, talking to Gail a couple months ago, we talked to Heath. One of the things they talked about, they spoke very highly, behind the scenes of Impact Wrestling, whether
Oh,
creative freedom, freedom in general, just being in a good environment. Is that kind of one of the things where you're like, you know what, that's why Impact's for me to make this decision, and let's do this.
yeah, Impact is the place to be. They're like that band of rebels, that they don't have that massive AEW, WWE funding, but the quality of the wrestling is speaks for itself. And those that are wrestling purists, they watch the product and they go, "This is the best wrestling on TV." It's incredible, and the locker room has this really good balance of old timers and young guys, and they feed off each other and they exchange information. Um, for example, I'll speak about Scott again. He's a wrestler. He's a businessman. He's a wrestler. So he's not just looking at wrestling strictly as a business because he's wrestled. He's probably had every role in the wrestling business. But also he has a business acumen. He's not just a wrestler trying to figure out how to be a businessman. So it's a really good blend, and I look at him as kind of the main guy there. But everyone at Impact that has in every capacity is just incredible at their job, and they're very the passion. I don't know why the passion is greater than other places, but it seems to be it seems to be the case. Everyone's really happy and grateful that they're in the industry and they're working hard, and everyone comes to work in a great mood, and it's just contagious. And
100%.
you mentioned Gail and Keith, and those are two awesome people that they're exactly who I'm talking about. Gail's a professional. She's intelligent. She's beautiful. She's in a great mood, and she's doing her thing. And I saw Heath when Heath first got there. I talked to him about it last week. When I first came, I visited one time as a guest at Impact, and he was missing his. He had to get his groove on. What's that movie? He had to get his groove. Stella got her groove back or something,
Yeah.
and he didn't have his groove. And now that I came back last week, I go, okay, he's got his groove back. And I talked to him about it. I said, bro, your confidence is back. And he was also conscious of it. He's like, yeah, I feel good again. So you know, it's a healthy environment.
No, 100%. And also I can imagine being there, or at least I would hope, when it comes to you and your career, even outside of wrestling, where like, for instance, I don't think you went into the business, and not to speak for you, I don't think you went into the business to be a quote unquote comedy wrestler, or a comedic wrestler rather. With your background, you're like, nah, came here to kick ass and to win titles and do that in the third. But you transitioned and you made a way and make things work for you, which that versatility is what everybody needs in whatever type of path they're trying to go for. Is there anyone specifically that's kind of picking your brain, with you being there?
Well, one of the guys actually that I'm going to continue to try and help is Joe Hendry. He was a comedic wrestler. He's a musician. He's also a judo guy like me, so I guess maybe that's one of the reasons I like him. But now he's transitioning to be a legitimate wrestler, a contender. So yeah, you have to. There's a shift in the psychology that has to happen. So I'm going to help him as much as I can, and help him with that transition from comedy to contender.
No, and that's awesome. And also, just talking about people coming up to you. Last month, Anthony Bowens, who of course is with the Acclaimed, talked
Yeah,
about how meeting you, kind of, you walked up to him actually, and you're like, "Hey, dude, do you wrestle? Because like you should." And you got him into contact with Pat Buck and this, that, and the third, and now he is where he is. How cool
yeah,
is it for you to realize that like the younger generation is giving you that praise, and wanting your insight? Like, how does that make you feel?
yeah. It's interesting. I started wrestling very late in life, right? Like I'm turning 50 next year, and
You don't look
I,
it. So
uh,
shout out to you.
yeah, I had my first singles match like 29, and then I was in Japan at 30. I started learning like North American wrestling style like 31. And I just trained so hard, man. I was away from my daughter, um, and I was obsessed with maximizing my time, and then so I kind of got signed 32, debuted 33, and been in the business really ever since. Um, Gosh, I got sidetracked. I forgot the original question. Oh yeah, so the younger kids. Yeah, so I'm older, right? So a lot of the guys, I debuted like how was it 16 years ago. This April is 16 years ago. So if you're a God, man, if you were a 10-year-old kid, you're 26 now. So when someone says I grew up watching you, it's kind of feels weird because I feel like I'm still growing up. But you do the math and you go, shit, yeah, I guess you did, man.
Look, I'm gonna tell you straight up, even though I was a little bit older, I think it was 16, 17. I was at a meet and greet to meet you, which is cool that now I get to interview you and do what I'm doing. So here, more praise from the younger generation for you. And before we get you out of here, obviously, and you brought up your kids a couple times. Obviously, this transition, all right, I want to ask you about this transition of having kids, not letting them see wrestling, I could imagine, because it's too violent. I don't want you to see that. To then they grow up a little bit trying to show them and be like, hey, daddy's okay. To then, daddy, I want to do this. To daddy, I'm doing this. Like, how has that whole process been? It has to be unbelievable.
Well, my daughter, she came to my first match ever, my first singles match ever. And she came with me to the Ohio Valley Wrestling in Kentucky, and she moved to to Japan with me for a month, and she's been a part of every single step, right? She's come to WrestleMania and SummerSlam and come on the road, and then when she finished university, that's when she, we didn't even talk about it until she was kind of almost through university. And then we kind of, we talked about it. But she was identified from a young child as being an exceptional. She's a superstar. She's a megastar, man. She's gonna be like a female rock, acting, TV show host, wrestling, like whatever. She can do it all. Um, but at the time when I started, I probably wouldn't have wanted to be in that environment. But the way it is now, absolutely, it's safe, and now, so my daughter's 27, and now I have a 1 year old and a 4 year old. So there's a whole. So my son's gonna grow up watching his sister wrestle, not really me. Uh, he'll see me on TV doing other stuff. I do a children's show on the Treehouse Network too, so he's kind of seen me on TV ever since he was little. I'm gonna wrestle in front of him a couple times. I want him to see Daddy, actually wrestle. So that hopefully he'll remember that.
Well, this will be my last question then. Before we get out of here, is there a possibility that you wrestle in Impact Wrestling?
Yeah. If there's a possibility, right? It's all about my maintenance on my. It's really my back, my lower back. I have a bulging disc that I can get it under control, but it has flare ups, and I got to be meticulous with my stretching and my strengthening and my water and even water intake. If I'm dehydrated, the disc kind of dehydrates and the nerves kind of get aggravated. But I got to control inflammation, and I hang upside down, and I do everything, man, to try and live with this because I have small kids. I want to be able to get down and play with them, right? So I need this body for at least 10 more years, if not 20.
Very well put. Well, look, Santino, we appreciate the time. And again, for everybody, No Surrender next month, actually this month, excuse me, February 24th at Sam Sounds Live. Fallout Night 1, Fallout Night 2, a weekend of Impact Wrestling. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. Santino, thank you for the time.
My pleasure, man. I'm looking forward. I haven't been to Vegas in a few years, so it'll be good.
We'll get you dehydrated some way, if you know what I'm saying. Take care, man.
That's where the intravenous gimmicks. Remember, they come and hook you up to the bag?
Yeah. Oh, see, Santino gets that. We'll talk about this later. I like this.
Yeah, I'll get rehydrated.
Take care, Santino.
Take care.